I made this video for anyone that's interested, as I am myself, in improving their ability to be able to identify values correctly when they're painting. I really think this can be of great help to you. This is a photograph that I imported into Photoshop. Notice the area above the eye. It's an area of lighter value and it's surrounded by areas of darker value. Now let's take a look over here at the cheek. This is a little patch of skin that's a darker value and it's surrounded by lighter values. Scan between the two, and you can squint if you wish, and ask yourself which one appears lighter. Well, it's not unusual to assume that the area above the eye is lighter in value than the area on the cheek. However, the truth is it's actually much darker. I went ahead and made a copy of this little piece of skin and I placed it over here, and believe it or not, that's it right there. Now, any logical person would look at this and say there is no way that this is the same value as this. But in fact it is. And I will show you. I'm going to grab a clip, another copy of this, and I'm going to drag it across the face and watch as I drag it over different values how it appears to change. Here it looks lighter and here it starts to get darker because it's over a lighter value. Now you can see that I wasn't kidding when I said that was a copy of this. The whole principle here is we're viewing, or we're being tricked by an optical illusion. And anytime we see a value, we're looking at something and we're interpreting it because of the areas that surround it. We're interpreting this to be dark because it's surrounded by an area of light value, and we're interpreting this area to be lighter because it's surrounded by areas of darker value. Not only do you assume that this is a darker value because it's surrounded by a lighter value, you'll also assume it's a different color if I move it, say, over into an area of different color. So not only does it look lighter here, but it looks pinker. Here it looks browner, here it looks more pink. If I move it over to a darker part of the picture, you'll notice that it looks lighter still. Let's go ahead and take a look at the little piece that I made a copy of on the cheek. Originally I thought this area was darker than this area here, but when I drag it over the top of the eye, you'll see in fact it is much lighter. And if I move it over a lighter area than itself, it looks darker again. And once I pull it down into a darker area, it appears to just light up like magic. And when I shift it back and forth over this nose, you'll see it almost appears like it's changing right before your eyes. This isn't it's not a trick video. It's an optical illusion. It's an optical illusion that's very real and continues to trip us up. Let's go ahead and put this back. Now, let's say, for example, you started your painting and you did it in this area, and you assume that you put down the correct value and the correct color, and you have more paint like this on your palette and on your brush, and you look around and logically think, hey, this is another eye, I can use some of that same paint here. It seems like it's the same value and same color. However, if you go ahead and put the paint down over there, you're going to be wrong again, because as you see, this value is much darker than this. The point of this video is to point out the optical illusion. It's very real, as you see, and it does play havoc with your painting. So the idea is to try to come up with a method, a systematic way to defeat or to beat, not fall for the illusion. A couple of things I'd like to share with you. First, if you begin your painting by painting in the darkest darks and then move adjacent, you move to adjacent areas from the area that you've already painted, it'll be much easier to judge a value. If you look at this value and you look at this value, it's going to be a lot easier than looking here and trying to figure out what the difference is. And to prove the point, I'll go ahead and grab a hold of this area once again. Whoops. Let's click on this and let's move this over here. And you'll notice that it's a whole lot easier to be able to judge the difference in value as it sits next to each other. This is adjacent, contiguous, you can call it whatever you want, but it does make it extremely easy to notice the difference. So the purpose of starting with the darkest darks is it's fairly easy to be able to find what the value is, because it's probably close to black, and you're going to be developing everything relative to it. So you want to look at the darkest dark and then put down or look at the area next to it and ask yourself, how much lighter is this than this? And then you mix your color, you put it down, and you ask yourself, is the difference in value that I see on my canvas the same as the difference in value that I see on my subject. Once you get it right, only then can you move on to the next adjacent area. If you paint this wrong and then try to judge this value off of this, good luck with that. So you get it right here, and then you're better able to judge the next value. You move systematically through the painting by painting adjacent areas. Another way to do it is to make yourself a little strip with some holes poked in it. This is a gray, 50% gray strip, and you can find that in an art store or an office supply store, and you punch holes in it, and you can compare the values, and it's much easier to see how much darker that looks than this when you do it this way. I hope these couple of ideas, and I hope that I made an impression on you with this optical illusion, because it certainly does trip us up, and it trips a lot of painters up, and it's a good idea to apply some of these principles we talked about and some of these methods to overcome it. I hope you enjoyed the video.